Hi there and welcome to Yarnspirations.com. In this video we want to take a look at the Crochet Cables Afghan. This Afghan is made in Bernat Blanket and we have photos in either the pumpkin spice or we have a little sample photo there in the antique white. You of course can pick whatever color works best with your decor. You will need 9 balls of yarn. You'll also need a crochet hook, size USL 11 or 8mm, or size needed to obtain gauge. And then the other thing I would add is a long flat ruler or a flat tape measure, because when we put this luscious fringe on, we're going to have to measure. So something that lays flat and measures would be an extra special help. We have front and back post stitches. Make these beautiful, thick, textured cables. And at the end, we're going to put this fringe on. It has sort of an antique passementerie look. It's way easier to put on than it looks, and it gives a beautiful look to your finished Afghan, but because of the way it's made and twisted, it's not going to fray. And since you're stitching it on as you go, it's not one of those situations where you have to finish the project and then, oh my gosh, I have to sit there and do the fringe. This is crocheted on as you make it. So let's get started and take a look at the crocheted cables. Now for my sample, I'm just going to make a piece the width of the stitch diagram so it's easy for you to follow along at home. Of course, if you're starting the blanket right now, we're going to start at the beginning where it says chain 102, and then it tells you to look at the chart. So the first row is a wrong side row, half double crochet in third chain from hook, and in each chain to end that will give you 100. So there's our first row of just the half double crochets. A note which is up here, and you need to remember the turning chain, the chain 2 at the beginning of each row does not count as a half double crochet. So it does not count when we are counting stitches, and we do not stitch into it. And you can notice that on the chart. You can see it kind of hanging out on alternate sides, but it is never worked into it too, so it doesn't count as a stitch. So let's begin with the second row. If you're following along in the text, chain 2, half double crochet in each of next 4 half double crochet, remember starting with the first one. DCFP, which is double crochet front post around next stitch twice, and we go up here to the definitions. The DCFP is yarn over and draw up a loop around the post of the next stitch at front of work, inserting hook from right to left, yarn over, draw through 2 loops on hook twice. And of course I'll show you all that. Then we're going to half double crochet in each of the next 4, skip 4, DTRFP, that's double treble front post instead of double crochet, in which case we're going to yarn over hook 3 times, drop a loop around the post of the indicated stitch at front of work, inserting the hook from right to left, yarn over and draw through 2 loops on hook 4 times. So that's a double treble front post. We're going to do that 4 times, and then working in front of the stitches just worked, which we can see the second set of 4 crosses over the first set of 4. So if we're following along in the chart, there's our 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles. There are our 2 post stitches, then 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles. Then we're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and do the double trebles that way. And then we're going to do the next 4 double trebles, and they're going to cross on top of the work. And then half double crochets, 2 post stitches, and 4 half double crochets. So let's take a look, whether you're following along in the text, which is up here, or on the chart. Let's take a look and see what that looks like. So remembering one more time that the chain 2 at the beginning of the round does not count. So we're going to do 4 half double crochets. It's always hard to find that first one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're going to do double crochet front post around next stitch twice. Yarn over. So now instead of working in the top of the stitch, we're going to work around the post. So right where my thumb is, that's where the hook is going to go, because we're always working from right to left. So down on the right side of the stitch, up on the left side, yarn over, pull it through, and we're going to finish the double. Yarn over, pull through two times. We're going to do that, and you see how it's sticking up in the front? See how much texture that has, how much depth? So let's try that one more time. Also, if you're doing post stitches in a row, where you go down for the second one is going to be where you came up from the first one. So once you get that first one properly placed, it's much easier to see the next one. So yarn over, hook, down where you came up on the right side of the stitch, up the left side of the stitch, yarn over and pull it around the stitch. Finish the double, yarn over, pull through two times. There are our 2 front post doubles. Now, the next thing it says is half double crochet in each of next 4. So we're going to half double crochet in each next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, some people find it difficult to figure out where the next stitch is going to be, but if you look at the back of the work, you're going to have sort of an empty stitch where you didn't skip the stitch, but you worked in the post instead of the top. So I'm not going to stitch in that one, and I'm not going to stitch in that one because they have post stitches in front of them. So I'm going to half double crochet. So not this one because it has a post, not that one because it has a post, but the next one is going to be where my half doubles start. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's take a look at that. So there's my 4 and my 2 that stick up, and that's going to be the vertical column, and then 4. Now we're going to begin the cable. So skip next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the stitch I'm going to work in. I'm skipping 4. I'm going to do a stitch way over here. D, T, R, F, P, double treble front post around next stitch 4 times. So remember, we're going to wrap 3 times. 1, 2, 3. We've skipped 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the next stitch. Down on the right side, up on the left side. Yarn over, pull it around the throat of the stitch, around the post. Yarn over, pull through 4 times. 2, 3, 4. And we are going to do that 4 more times. Yarn over, hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Down where we came out the last time, up on the other side of the post. Yarn over, pull it through. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 more. 1, 2, 3. Around the next stitch. Down on the right, up on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we have 1 more. 1, 2, 3. Down where we came out, up on the other side, yarn over, pull it through. 1, 2, 3, 4. So those are the first 4. That's the first leg of the cable, and you can see that they are leaning towards the right, and that's because we skipped all those stitches. Now the next thing that we're going to do is 1 DTRFP double treble front post around each of the 4 skipped stitches. So we're going back to here. There's my 4 skipped ones. Let's see if I can get this up close. 1, 2, 3, 4. So yarn over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And I said earlier you want to keep the second set of post stitches on top of, in front of the stitches we already made. So we're going way back here to that first skipped stitch, down on the right, up on the left, and keep that working yarn on top. Keep it in front of the work. Yarn over, pull it through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, 4 times. It gets easier as you go on. This first one likes a big knot, but 1, 2, 3. I'm going to the next skipped stitch. So here's the one I just did. Here's the next skipped one. Down on the right, up on the left. The farther along you get in the pattern, the easier it is to see what you're doing. Okay, 2 more. 1, 2, 3 yarn overs. There's the stitch I just made. So here is the next stitch that I'm going around. Down on the right, up on the left. Keep that working yarn in front of the work. In front of those 4 stitches we already made. Okay, 1 more. 1, 2, 3. Here's that last skipped stitch right between the one we just made and the first one we made on the first leg. Down on the right, up on the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So here is the beginning of the cable cross. There's the 4 stitches I made earlier are behind. 4 post stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's the 4 post stitches I just made are sitting on top. And here it is in the chart. There's the 4 under, there's the 4 over. So the next thing we're going to do is half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to look for the first stitch that does not have a post in front of it. So that's my leftmost post. I want to ignore the stitch behind it, so I'm going to start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 post stitches, 1, 2. And these are not the double trebles, these are the doubles. So you can tell because that only got one angle on it. And if you're reading in the instruction course, it says DCFP. So 1, 2, and then I have 4 half doubles before the end. Yours, of course, will be wider because you're making the whole width of the blanket. I'm just doing the sample, the diagram size, so that you can get to see all the different rows. 4, there's my 4th half double. Remember that chain 2, that turning chain does not count as a stitch. So there is my row 1. Now if you look at the photo of the blanket, you can see from here on out it's a lot easier to place the stitches because the double crochet front posts and back posts line up vertically, and the treble crochet, or the double treble crochet front and back posts line up vertically. So once you have completed row 2 the first time, you have placed your stitches where they need to be, and from there on out you're putting post stitches in post stitches, which is a little bit easier to see. So let's move on to the 3rd round. Looking at the text, chain 2, half double crochet in each of the next 4 stitches, 1 double crochet back post around next stitch twice. So we're putting a back post double crochet on top of the front post, half double crochet in each of the next 4, 1 double crochet back post around each of the next 8 stitches. Now let's take a look at the chart here too. Those are the crossed stitches. They only cross every 4th row. So it's cross, even, 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 cross, even, 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 etc. So those are the 8 back post doubles. and then half double crochet in each of the next 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a back post double around each of the post stitches, and then I will have 4 half doubles across to the end. So let's take a look and see what that looks like in real life. So I'm going to turn in chain 2. Remember the chain 2 does not count as a stitch. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 half doubles. I'm going to put a half double in each of those half doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, what's the difference between a back post double crochet, a double crochet back post, and a double crochet front post? It is that we are working on the side of the work that is away from us. Other than that, it is the same stitch. So yarn over, insert your hook around the post of the stitch, but on the far side of the work, down on the right, up on the left, yarn over, pull it through, and complete the double. Yarn over, pull through 2 twice. Let's see that again. Yarn over, yarn over, right to left around the post of the post stitch from the previous row, and pull it through. Yarn over, pull through 2 twice. Then I have 4 half double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4. Remember, leave those 2 top stitches that are behind the post stitches. You want to leave those open. So 1, hard to see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do 8 double crochet in the back post. And this is a big tangly mess because there's only 1 row on there. So we want to make sure that the bottom, I like to pull it side to side. So the bottom's at the bottom, the top is at the top, and we're going to go around the post of the stitches in the order in which we come to them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these guys, 5, 6, 7, 8. Don't worry about what's forward and back, just go in the order that they're coming. So yarn over, go around the post of that next stitch from right to left, yarn over, draw it around, yarn over, pull through 2 twice, yarn over, down the area where you just came out, and then up on the other side, yarn over, pull it through the stitch, yarn over, pull through 2, back post double crochet. Again, the thing that makes it a back post instead of a front post is that you're working on the side of the work that is away from you, but the mechanics are exactly the same. So there's my first 4. Now I got to find my second 4, and they're way over here. Right, so there's my 4 empties, is what they look like because I have post stitches in front of them. Now I have to come to these guys. So yarn over, down on the right, up on the left, pull it around, and then yarn over, pull through 2 twice. We're going to do this across these 4 stitches. All right, and now you can see it's a little neater. I still have my crosses showing on the first row that I had the cross on. That was actually the second row because we're working on the third row. But now it's easier to see all the way across how they march in a little row. 4 half doubles, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 double crochet in the back post. These are those 2 in the vertical column. And then 4 half doubles, remembering and not to get involved in that chain 2. That is just there to turn the chain. It does not count as a stitch. 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the end of the third row. Now here we are looking at it in the front. Here's our vertical column. So we have our halves, our vertical column that separates the panels, the 4 half double crochets before and after the cable cross. There's the cable cross, which is now laying a lot more neatly since we have another row on it. More half doubles, our little vertical decorative column, and then some more half doubles. So following along on the chart or on the pattern, so that was the third row. The fourth row and the fifth row, the mechanics are the same as the row we just did. On the fourth row, of course, instead of doing back post stitches, we're doing front post stitches because we changed the orientation. And row 5 is exactly the same as row 3. We'll be doing back posts. Then when you get up to row 6, it is the same as row 2. You're doing your cable crosses. So it is a simple 4-row repeat. You're going 2, 3, 4, 5 over and over and over again until you get to the length that you need. And on the text, it'll tell you the same thing. Follow along with the rows. We finish the third row, you'll do the fourth row. The fifth row is the same as the third. Repeat second to fifth rows until work measures from the beginning, 58 inches or 147.5 centimeters, ending on a third row. Do not end off because we are going to work on this very fancy fringed edging. I'll be right back and show you that. All right, I put a few more rows on my sample so you would have something to look at. Once again, we have our panels of 4 half double crochets tracking vertically. We have our columns of the 2 double crochet post stitches tracking. We have our cable paddle tracking, and I have gone on and I have finished my sample with a row 3, which is what you're going to do when you finish your blanket. At the end of that row 3, I'm moving to the instructions where it says top fringe. So the first row, chain 1, single crochet in each stitch across to end of row, which I have done right here. So you can see I have my row of singles across every single stitch. All right, we're still working where it says top fringe in the pattern, and we're going to start the second row. So we've turned at the end of the first row. Second row begins with a chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch in the next single crochet and draw up a loop that is 16 inches. So this is where, so there's my slip stitch. The loop that I want you to draw up is the working loop that's on the hook. Now, you can pull this out with the hook, but I find that really frustrating. I personally found it to go a lot more easy when I used my finger, but you can certainly use the hook if you want. And then we're going to measure. And the reason we're going to measure is we want all our fringe to be as close to the same length as possible. So it's good to have a flat ruler or a long measuring tape laid flat, or you can always cut a 16-inch piece of paper or cardboard and work around that. So I have my 16 inches loop, and this was the working loop of the slip stitch. Now, once again, you can put your hook in here and start twisting. I personally found it a lot easier to use my finger. So I stuck my finger in here and I'm twisting in the same direction over and over and over again. 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. The directions will tell you to go to 40. I'm saying if you lose count, which I'm about to, probably more twists is better than fewer, because you want a lot of tension in this so that it will coil back up on itself, which I'll show you in a minute. And then once again, if you choose to leave your hook in here, it's fine. Personally, I found that it kept slipping off the end of the hook and annoying the heck out of me, whereas my finger, I can just keep it a little bent and keep twisting. So I'm going to keep twisting, 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 twisting until I have a minimum of 40 twists. And you can feel it. Now watch, if I take the pressure off this, you see it starting to coil. that has enough tension on it. If it does not start to coil, you haven't twisted enough. You know, when the phone rings or you get a text and you put your phone down and you lose count. So then I'm going to take my finger out. I'm going to put the hook back in because I need that now. Right? This is still the working loop. So now I'm going all the way back up to that first single crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch in there in that first stitch to anchor the twist. And then again, I'm going to use my finger, I'm going to pull it out so it's even and just let it go. And it will coil back up on itself and give you this luscious, thick fringe. So let's do that again. Single crochet in the next, slip stitch in the next single crochet. Pull it out till the loop is 16 inches. Using either the hook or your finger. Make sure you do it the same way every time. Don't put a whole ton of tension on this because it will come out uneven. And then I'll try it with the hook this time. But once again, you can use your finger if you want. 3, 4. See, this is what I keep doing. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, I'm going back to my finger because apparently I'm too stupid to do this with a hook. 13, 14, 15. 30. 40. Okay. Get my hook, put it back in that loop, come back and slip stitch in the same single crochet as the last slip stitch that I made. Use my finger to make sure that that's even and let it coil back up on itself. And you can see it makes this luscious, thick fringe. So thank you so much for joining us here making the Crochet Cables Afghan. Once I get all my fringe finished, all I have to do is weave the ends in and then I'm all done, and this will be a luscious, thick blanket that you will be happy to curl up under all winter long. Thanks for joining us here on Yarnspirations.com. We look forward to seeing you again real soon.